Hey everybody, I'm Amy Broghamer, and I am a real estate agent in Cincinnati, Ohio. I run a referral-based business and have been for 15 years. A little bit more about me. I published my first book, The Playbook for Success, last year, and this is the fundamentals to succeed in real estate and life. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the topics in this book today, but I want to go a little bit deeper in the topic of repeat and referral business and how do you get that. So this is a 2.0 discussion, right? So what we all know is that in repeat and referral business and in asking for referrals and running a business like that, you have to have relationships, a relationship-based business. So that means, stuff that I talk about in my other training, which is, doing client events or sending these awesome cards to celebrate clients, having a dedicated list of people that you focus on because they want to help you, right? So you have your clients, your core clients that you work with to exceed their expectations so that they refer you. So let's talk about the importance of referrals. And I want to share with you really quickly one of the most important books that I believe has ever been written for real estate agents. This book is called Shift. It is written with Gary Keller, but more importantly, Dave Jenks also wrote the book. And I had the opportunity to meet Dave Jenks last October, and he signed the book for me. Think big, aim high, and go for it. I truly believe that he wrote this book. Why am I sharing this book? Because here's the thing. A shift is coming. It's going to change the market, right? And when it does, people are going to need to trust the person that they're working with more than anything else, and when you read through this book, which I highly recommend, here's something that Gary Keller says in a chapter that is titled, Find the Motivated, Lead Generation. He also says that the agent has to be responsible for their own lead generation in a shifting market. But what he says here is the methods that will generate the most leads in the shortest amount of time for the least amount of your effort and money is where people are going to continue to thrive and survive in the shifting market. So let's talk about that again. Referral-based business, okay, is the key. If you have referral-based business, if you think back to a referral that you've gotten before, you know that that you generate that lead in a very short amount of time, right? They get to trust very quickly because somebody else referred them, and we'll talk a little bit about that. For the least amount of effort, right? Somebody's literally handing you this lead. So you haven't been making phone calls for 5 hours hearing no. And the least money invested, right? So it's just relationships. It's doing a client event. This card right here, this cost me like a couple bucks, and this is my client's face and her daughter, and this is my branding on the back, and if you're interested in more on this, I can definitely do that. But my point is establishing relationships, digging in, get you referrals. Referrals lead to business that is low cost and high return. I've actually been doing referral-based business for over 15 years, and I've had people tell me I was lying to them, literally lying when I said I did 50 transactions a year, only referral and repeat business. It's not a lie. And I think they were jealous or they weren't sure how to do that. So again, topic for a previous day is how do you stay top of mind? How do you communicate with people on a consistent basis? That's building a relationship-based business you love. That's a training that I do that we can talk about another time. This is 2.0. This is, oh, I got your card. I'm dedicated to you. How do I give you a referral? How do I refer somebody to you to where you can convert that opportunity? So that's what we're talking about today is what does it sound like to teach your clients how to refer you properly? Okay? raise your hand virtually if you've ever heard this. Oh my gosh, I give your name and number out all the time. I think you're the best real estate agent. And you're sitting here like, no one's ever called me and told me that you referred me. Or they say, oh, I just gave your name out last month to my coworker. Okay, never got a call. What was their name? Like, where did they come from, right? It doesn't happen. That's why I don't give out business cards, because I don't want people to give out my card and that card get lost. There's a better way to do this, guys, a better way. And I'm going to tell you exactly what that is. Okay. So first of all, first thing, there is, I hate using the word script, right? Because that's so transactional sounding. I like to use dialogue or word track. There is a dialogue that Michael Mayer created in his book, The 7 Levels of Communication, and it is called the Chosen One script. This is some very direct way to ask people if you are the chosen one in any given profession. So let's just say it's real estate, and I've got some notes here because I don't want to miss anything. So his dialogue goes, hey, I'm curious. If you had a friend or a neighbor that needed to buy or sell a home, who would you recommend they call first? It's fluffy, right? It doesn't say, are you going to refer me or not? But it is. You just need to know where you stand with people sometimes. Sometimes you don't ask this to everyone, but this is a great question to ask when you're trying to feel out where you stand with somebody. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that again. I'm curious, if you had a friend or a neighbor looking to buy or sell a home, who would you recommend they call first? Okay, this can go one of two ways. One, they could say, oh, my mom sells real estate. I would probably refer them to her. Okay. What would I need to do to earn that opportunity for you to choose me and give my name to somebody like that? And then there's your answer. Maybe they say, well, nothing. My mom's always going to get my leads. Good to know. Take them off your A list, right? What if they say, well, you know, I'd like to see you have a couple more years in the business, or something like that. You could say, okay, how much experience do you think I should need? I just want you to know that, you know, I've been in the business for 2 years, but what that means is I've sold over 30 homes in that 2 years. The average agent sells like 4 a year. So does that help you at all understand my level of experience? And maybe that they didn't know. So now they're giving your name out, right? So that's just a way to have a conversation that's somewhat direct, but not really uncomfortable, because it's just good to know. Now, I'll tell you, as a real estate agent, you're going to be afraid to ask that question because you're going to be afraid of the answer. But guess what's worse? What's worse is them referring other people because they didn't know that you wanted the referral, or you never had the conversation about why it's important to you and your experience level and the things that you bring to the table, and you never get an opportunity from them. So you're leaving money on the table by not having this conversation. So that is the chosen one script, okay? So let's talk about if they say, you, I'm referring you, or if they say, oh my gosh, Amy, I just wanted you to know my neighbor is moving and I gave her your name and number. Here's how I would respond. Awesome. I'm so excited to talk to them. Can you do me a favor? A lot of times when people give out my name and number, I never hear from them, or they lose my card, or they forget even who referred them to somebody great when the time comes to make the call. So let me ask you a favor. Would you mind getting their permission to give me their name and number so that I can just make that initial contact, maybe send them a card and just get some information in front of them? I'm not going to be aggressive. I'm just going to reach out to them that one time, but at least you know that I will reach out to them we don't have to put the burden on them to call me. Would you feel okay with that? You guys, that's the key. You have to have them connect you, right? So would you do me a favor and get permission from your friend to give me their name and number so that I can reach out and establish a connection with them so that at the time that they need me, we will have traded information, right? Depending on how much time you have to explain this to somebody and or the way that they're choosing to give you the lead, it depends on how much you share with them, you know. Or you could say, you know, have you ever had somebody recommend something like a restaurant to you or something like that? And when the time comes to go out on a date, you're like, who was it that told me to go where again? And it's ineffective, right? And almost everybody has had that happen. Or somebody recommended a book or a movie to them, and by the time they went to get the book or the movie, they're like, oh my gosh, who was it again that referred me? But if there's a connection established before that situation happens, then it's easier for them to be like, oh yeah, Amy, she's the one that sent me that video on email that was so cool. Let me look her name up on my email and I'll reach out to her and let her know it's time. Okay? Good stuff right there, guys. So ask them to help you by getting permission from their friend to give you their name and number. Then it's your job to follow up with that lead. If you don't do it, shame on you. Okay? So here's another kind of aspect of this referral thing. We do the same thing in our business with our lender, for example. Okay? How many times as a real estate agent have you given a buyer your lender's name and number, and they don't call and they don't call and they don't call? And then you call your lender and you're like, hey, did they call you yet? Did they call you yet? Did you hear from so-and-so? Did they call you? Right? Here's how you fix that. You tell your buyer client, hey, if it's okay with you, I am going to give your name and number to my trusted lender, Drew, and I'm going to have him reach out to you. Is there a good day or time of day that's best for him to give you a call? And then they tell me what day or time, and then I shoot Drew an email with their name and number and a good time to call and a little bit of background on them, and he calls. And guess what happens if they don't answer or if he doesn't connect? After like 2 or 3 times, he'll send me an email. Hey, Amy, I've left 3 messages. These people aren't calling me back. Guess what that does? It tells me they're not motivated or they're stuck in a hole somewhere and need to be drug out. So I'll follow back up with them at that point. But when you have your vendors connect in that way, they so much appreciate it, because you're not saying to your lender, I give your name out all the time, and he's like, nobody ever calls me, right? So that's really important too. Now, here's another tip. Every time we receive a lead opportunity, okay, every single time, buyer or seller, one of the very first questions we ask them is, how did you connect with our team? Who referred you? And they give me a name, right? And I say, oh my gosh, yeah, Jan Brady, she is awesome. We helped them buy a house last year. I'm curious, what did they say about me that caused you to call? And then they say, oh, they said you were honest and you just handled everything and made it so easy. Write that down, because that tells me right there what they're looking for and what their expectations are, right? And then I say, thank you for letting me know that Jan Brady referred you. Referrals are really, really important to our team. In fact, we don't work with anybody that hasn't been referred to our team. And so I'm going to make sure that I reach out to Jan and I send her something as a thank you. And I just want you to know that when you do that for me, after we have a successful transaction, I will thank you for those referrals going forward as well. Does that sound okay? And they're on board. They understand from the beginning of the transaction that the expectation is that they will have a smooth process because that's what their friends said about me. And that when they do, they will also in kind refer me, right? And it's at the end of the transaction that I remind them how I'm best referred. So I go back to the chosen one script and I say, hey, we're done with our transaction. Woohoo! I'm curious, if you had a friend or a neighbor looking to buy or sell a home, who would you recommend they call? And then they say, well, Amy, you. I'm like, yes. So do me a favor. When that person comes up, get their permission to give me their name and number so that I will make a contact with them. And they won't lose my card and they won't forget who referred you and all of that, right? And it makes sense to them and it clicks for them. Anytime somebody tells me I gave out your name, I will say to them, that's really not the best way to give a referral if you care about that person. And they'll look at me and I'll be like, truly they'll lose track of it. And then they'll be stuck with kind of a crappy agent at the end because they forgot who referred them or they lost my card. So the best way to do it is to get their permission to give me their name and number, and I will just make a connection. Now, going back to the builder referral-based business that you love, I will send something like this, a card. Here's one. I got a lead for this house. I took a picture of their house. And so the adventure begins. Susanna, Marcia, you are going to love your new house. I'm excited to team up with you all to help you experience success on selling this one. Let's do this. Send them brownies. Guess what? The power of reciprocity is so amazing. They didn't interview anyone else. I got the listing, sold it pre-market for more than what we were going to be asking. It was a great experience, but this is the kind of stuff that you can do to solidify. Let's say that these people were connected with me and they weren't ready to sell yet. I'm going to invite them to my client events. So I've got this Photos with Santa. I'm going to send this invitation to them, right? So I'm going to make that initial connection on email, a virtual introduction with a video. And then, I'll ask permission. Would you mind while you're going through the preparation and waiting to decide if you're going to sell, if I would invite you to some of my client events. And I have this Photos with Santa, we do an ice cream social, we have I Love You Latte, like all of these events. Gives us a reason to reach out to them and invite them to something of value. It's not saying, hey, are you ready to sell your house yet? It's, hey, you want to come get a picture with Santa? And then we're going to just chat a little bit. And you're probably going to tell me that you're going to be ready to list in February, right? So all these things work together to create this relationship-based business of referrals. And you can do all the passive stuff you want, but you got to ask sometimes, and you got to teach them how to refer you the right way. Because honestly, guys, if I hear one more person say, I gave your name out last month to my neighbor, I might strangle somebody. But I stop what I'm doing and I say, hey, I really appreciate that. The best way to refer me is to get their permission to share their name and number with me so that I can make that connection. And when the time is right, they'll know I'm ready and they're waiting for them, right? So that is truly what I wanted to share with you. And that's a 2.0 level, right? A lot of people are afraid to ask for the business, or a lot of people don't know how to help their clients refer them. This is a great way to do it. Again, Michael Mayer has the Chosen One script. This other script, I have no idea where it came from, but somebody taught it to me very early on. I use it for myself to get referrals. I introduce my trusted vendors in the same way, and they appreciate it so much. And again, going back to the wise words of Gary Keller and Dave Jenks. The methods that will generate the most leads in the shortest amount of time for the least amount of your effort and money invested are what are going to sustain you through the shift. If you would like more information on how to create building a referral-based business that you love, please reach out to me at www.amyb.com, or you can email me at amy@amyb.com, or find me on Facebook, and I would be happy to help you build that referral-based business with those ideas, and then you can take it to the next level and teach your clients how to refer you properly and how to identify where they fall in your A and B client list. I'm really excited for you guys to do this. And again, not to beat a dead horse here, but the shift is coming. How are you preparing for it? What are you doing now that's going to set you up for success in the future? This is just one of the items and ideas that I can recommend to you. I made it through the last shift in 08, 09 and built my business at that time. And now it's going strong and we're about 50 transactions a year, all repeat and referral. I want to share that with you. I want you to experience what it's like to work with repeat and referral business. It is the best business you can have. If you have any questions, please reach out. If you like this video, please subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.